Hi, kindergarten parents. My name is Mary Leach. I am a kindergarten teacher at Hugh Bish Elementary. As you know, it's almost the end of the school year, and with distance learning, things are a little crazy. So, since we weren't able to have a kindergarten meeting, I'm going to go ahead and do a short video and help explain where we go from here, as many of you are questioning that. Something I did want to mention to you is that, as you know from when you were growing up, kindergarten has changed from being an elective course to being mandatory for the state. It's become crucial for your child's educational career, which is why we feel that it's important for you to know what options you have and work together as a team in order to make that decision. Um, as a kindergarten teacher, we look at several different things. We test throughout the year, as you know, on anything from the letters to sight words to addition, everything. There's also something that we do called MAT testing, and that is what I want to kind of update you on because some of you aren't aware of that. MAT testing, I have some slides to help. MAT testing is a test to show the maturity of your child. That doesn't mean necessarily their chronological age, but it's showing their developmental versus their chronological age. Some of you might think, well, my child's 5 and they act like a 5-year-old. Well, technically, chronological age is from 5 all the way to 6. There is a huge gap in that year, and those are things that we're looking at. They are developmental stages. Every child develops differently and at different times, and we know that from our kids being babies and when they started to talk and crawl. So keep that in mind, that is what we're looking at. These scores are helping us determine where your child should be, basically whether they should be retained in kindergarten or go to a T1 classroom, which I'll go into further here afterwards, and go on to first grade. So the several things that we are looking at, I will show you the testing for the MAT testing. First, I want to point out to you that the first thing that we do with our students is look to see whose birthday is in March. If they are born March 1st, 2014 or later, that is one of the first determining factors for testing your child. So if your child is born before then, we aren't necessarily going to test them. It's a very lengthy test. Let me show you what a test looks like. This is the beginning, the front page basically. This is the beginning of the assessment where I put all of your information for your child after I'm done testing. There is what it's showing, which you can't read very well, is it says 3-year-old, 3.5, 4, 4.5, 5, and it goes all the way up to a 7-year-old, because some of your kids are able to do 7-year-old skills, but at the same time they are only able to do 4.5-year-old skills, and that's okay. So don't get ahead of that. That's perfectly normal. I wanted to show you, it's a pretty lengthy test. The beginning of it, the front page, is basically the assessment. You could get a copy of this. The rest of the test we can show you, but we cannot give you a copy. So there's different sections where we write every single thing that your child is doing, from the answers that they give, to the stories that they tell, to how they're sitting in their seat, to their tongue position, to whether their mouth is opened or closed, how they're sitting, how their hand is positioned, how they hold their pencil. All of those different things come into play when we do this assessing. So don't just think that it's a matter of if they complete the test or not. So I'm going to show you the 6 different sections that we're going to test over. If you can see, I'm going to try to do it here. The first one is cubes. Basically, they're going to be looking at cubes. I'm going to do an example. They're going to try to mimic that. They're going to tell me what they think it looks like, all of those different things. And I'm looking at not only can they make it, but how they make it. Are they using 2 hands? Are they using 1 hand? Is their mouth like this? And they're moving around as they move them around. Those are all different things that I'm looking at as well. The second one is the interview. This is where we ask them about you and siblings and everything else. Their answers will tell us basically where they fall as far as their age. Some of them, when I say, "What does your mother do?" they say, "Stays home and she just plays on the computer." Or some of them will say, "She works from home on the computer. She sells things or she makes things like that." So keep that in mind as well. The other section, the third section, is name, number, and copy forms. They are basically going to be writing their name, writing their numbers. They're copying different shapes. I want to see how big they make the shapes, how they hold their pencil, how their paper is positioned, whether it's to the side or straight up and down, if they write their name at the top or if they write it at the bottom. The next one is called Incomplete Man. This one's actually pretty interesting. We are looking at how long it takes them. We're looking at how they complete him. Some may forget that he needs eyes or ears or hair or another leg. Some of them are very, very detailed and put clothes on them and things like that. So those are all factors as well. The fifth section is naming animals. Basically, without pictures, I'm just asking them how many animals they can name. I'm listening to see how many they can do, which I write them down. Also, what categories are they? Domestic animals? Are they, animals that are in the ocean? Farm animals? Things like that. Those are all determining factors as well. The most time I spent was 60 seconds, so a whole minute. But that's a lot of animals they can name in that amount of time. And the last one is interests. So it's just different things that interest them. They have to answer these questions. One word answers are a lot of times for the younger kids that aren't mature enough to answer. Okay, so when we have the results, basically I kind of just want to show you what we're looking at. In the yellow is going to be a retention. Basically, they probably need to repeat kindergarten. The second one, which is in the blue, is transitional first. That's a T1 classroom. That would probably be the best fit for that child. Also, the green would be moving on to first grade. And those are just some qualifiers. I will also tell you that readiness is super important. And the readiness that we are looking at is, are they developmentally ready to learn? Meaning, can they sit? Can they handle longer periods of listening from a teacher and instruction in order to follow directions? Can they handle several step questions? Whether they respond to teaching, meaning when we have whole group, are they listening? Sorry, I guess I've been pretty wordy. Basically, those are the things that we're looking at. We're not only looking at those things, but we're looking at how they've been throughout the year, where they fall academically. In order to be in a T1 classroom, in order to qualify, you have to, first of all, be tested on the MAT test, but also you have to be within a 5-year-old to 5.5-year-old. So if they're scoring lower, then that's more of a retention. As much as you want to push them forward, it's not good for them. You can't force them to mature any quicker. I will tell you that the students in the T1 classrooms are at very similar levels, which makes it for, like I said, an amazing learning experience for the social, emotional, as well as the educational learning activities that they have for them. Again, they are having limited spaces available, so if your child's teacher does push them forward and thinks that they should be a candidate for T1, I would definitely take that opportunity to use that. Kindergarten is probably the best time to slow down just a little bit and let them catch up. It puts a lot of things in place for them. I know that there's a lot of information that I just kind of threw at you, but I just kind of wanted to go over it, give you a little glimpse of what we've done, and help set you up for those meetings that you're going to be having the rest of this week and next week with your child's teacher. So hopefully I answered questions and updated you on what you needed to know. Thank you so much. Bye.